Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. I'm here at one of the Orkney Islands in the northeast of Scotland. We just took a 90-minute ferry, and these islands are the northernmost tip of Britain. They're absolutely beautiful. It's like paradise up here, but that would be the exact opposite of what the deep state snake is experiencing right now. And of course, I'm talking about none other than John Bolton. As you know, the FBI just raided Bolton's home and office several weeks back. And really what they discovered is frankly pretty shocking, especially given how outspoken he was after the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, where he said that Trump should be sent to prison for having classified documents illegally in his possession, which is patently absurd since the president has ultimate authority in what is and is not classified. But now the FBI has just released a list of what they found in the Bolton raid, and it's pretty stunning. We're talking classified documents about weapons of mass destruction, secret travel memos, and confidential UN files scattered around his office like old newspapers. But here's the kicker. It's not just Bolton. While he's getting searched, former FBI Director James Comey is about to face criminal charges for the first time in history. Now, this story connects two of Trump's biggest adversaries in ways you've never even imagined. So let me break down exactly what federal agents found when they executed search warrants at Bolton's Washington, D.C. office and his Maryland home back in August. The FBI's search of Bolton's office revealed a treasure trove of classified materials that would make any security expert's hair stand on end. Now, here's the complete list of what they seized. They found a number of documents marked secret. So we're talking travel memo documents with pages carrying the highest level of restricted classification. These weren't just routine travel plans. We're talking about materials that could cause serious damage to national security if ever disclosed. They found a number of documents marked confidential, detailing secrets about weapons of mass destruction. Yes, you heard that right. John Bolton had classified documents about WMDs just sitting around in his office. The FBI specifically noted these were marked as classified and dealt with some of the most sensitive national security matters imaginable. There were a number of UN mission documents labeled confidential, and this involved multiple files related to the U.S. mission to the United Nations, containing sensitive diplomatic communications that could damage relationships with international partners. There were a number of strategic communication materials marked confidential, and these are reportedly documents related to the federal government's strategic communications, essentially classified information about how the U.S. government coordinates its messaging on sensitive topics. And finally, the FBI noted that at least one confidential heading was completely redacted from their public inventory, meaning there are classified documents so sensitive they can't even reveal what they're about. Now, the search warrant indicates agents were investigating two fundamental felony violations. First, the conspiracy to gather, transmit, or lose defense information under the Espionage Act. And secondly, the unauthorized retention of classified documents. In addition, the FBI confiscated computers and electronic devices that could contain digital copies of sensitive information inside Bolton's home. And this dual location search in both his home and DC office shows that the Justice Department believes that Bolton may have been systematically retaining classified materials across multiple locations, a pattern that suggests intentional misconduct rather than, just basic academic retention. Now, it's not just Bolton that's in hot water. Former FBI Director James Comey, who's another of Trump's nemesis, he's facing a comparable reckoning as well. Wait until you see this. The legacy media often masquerades as objective journalism, when in reality, all they are is agenda-driven activism wrapped in the appearance of news. These narratives do not inform. They intentionally manipulate, leaving millions of people wondering, where on earth can we turn for the truth? Well, luckily, gang, there is a solution.
Ground News brings together headlines from over 50,000 news sources and makes it easy to understand what's happening. But what really makes Ground News powerful is the transparency. You don't just see the stories. You see the political bias behind every source, the ownership ties, and the coverage breakdown across the spectrum. That's why over 1 million people have downloaded Ground News. Check it out for yourself at ground.news/Steve. And I have to say my favorite feature is the blind spot feed. So it shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of the aisle, but barely mentioned on the other. I mean, it's the clearest way to see media bias in action. So, for example, here's a story the left is completely ignoring. Senator Rand Paul says Dr. Fauci directed others to delete emails and must testify. Now, if true, these allegations point to a deliberate effort to conceal information during the pandemic. No wonder the left-wing media is ignoring it. Now, of course, the right overlooks stories as well. But with Ground News, you'll see the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, right, and center, how reliable each source is, and who owns each outlet. It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see. So right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to all the features that I personally use for just $5 a month. Just visit ground.news/Steve, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code. That's ground.news/Steve.
So federal prosecutors are racing against a 5-year statute of limitations that expires next Tuesday against James Comey for lying to Congress. So the Justice Department is preparing to seek a grand jury indictment as early as today, Thursday, making Comey potentially the first former high-ranking government official to face charges related to the Russia investigation, the Russian collusion investigation. The specific allegations against Comey center on his September 2020 testimony to Congress, where sources familiar with the investigation say he's accused of lying about whether he authorized leaks to the Wall Street Journal for an October 2016 article about Hillary Clinton's email investigation. The contradictions are pretty damning. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe told investigators that he informed Comey about the leak and that Comey approved it after the fact. But Comey testified under oath that he neither authorized the leak nor knew about McCabe's involvement. And Senator Ted Cruz blatantly stated, one of these guys is lying under oath, which is a federal crime. Now, of course, all of this isn't happening in a vacuum. President Trump just fired U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert from the Eastern District of Virginia and replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, one of Trump's former personal attorneys. And as many of you know, Trump has been publicly pressuring the Justice Department to move faster against his political enemies. Just days ago, you might have seen that he went on Truth Social calling Comey and others guilty as hell and demanding that justice must be served. And he excoriated Pam Bondi for not moving faster. The timing is no coincidence. Both Bolton and Comey represent everything Trump's base believes is wrong with the Washington establishment, career officials who turned against him and used their positions to consistently sabotage and undermine his presidency. And so what's so fascinating here is that we're watching in real time the exact same justice system that went after Trump for classified documents, now turning around and pursuing his enemies for the exact same violations. Bolton had documents dating back from his time during the Bush administration, going all the way up to his service for Trump in his first administration. Meanwhile, Comey, who positioned himself as this self-righteous guardian of FBI integrity, he's potentially facing perjury charges for lying about authorizing illegal leaks to damage Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election. The same Comey, by the way, who lectured America about honesty and the rule of law. It's beyond pathetic. But it does look like these will be the first two of a long list of deep state operatives will finally be held accountable for their years of systematic abuse, which means that these cases represent a fundamental shift in how justice is administered in America. For too long, the Washington establishment protected its own while weaponizing the legal system against outsiders like Trump. Now that dynamic is finally reversing. Bolton's case shows that career bureaucrats who think they're above the law will be held accountable for mishandling our nation's secrets. Comey's impending indictment proves that lying to Congress does indeed have consequences, even for former FBI directors who thought they were untouchable. The American people deserve equal justice under the law. That's exactly what we voted for in November. And these investigations represent a long overdue reckoning with a two-tier justice system that's favored political elites for far too long. So it does look like the days of this two-tier justice system are finally over, which means let the indictments begin. God bless, gang.
All right, gang, that's a wrap. Now, if you want the latest updates and some behind-the-scenes goodies, head on over to turley.pub/news and sign up for our newsletter. Big things are always coming.